ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we only got one news story for you, but it's a good one that I'm excited to talk about. We'll get to the trailer talk this week, where we have a new Space Jam trailer. That was a little. I don't really know what happened there. Don't know. We'll get to the new streaming. It's actually a decent week, so we'll get to that, and then we'll get to what we're watching, of course, and then our main review for the episode, Deadpool.
I was I've tried to come up with something catchy to say there, but unlike Ryan Reynolds, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's tough, man. How much of his dialogue do you think is improv?
I think he does like 20 takes, just like rapid fire what comes into his head,
sure,
and then they just pick whatever they think works best.
Of course. Well, before we get to any of that, folks, I'm joined today by Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna Let You Down, Nathaniel Gingrich. What's up, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
You know, a little tired today. Had to open long-ish day of work, even though it was a shorter shift.
Yeah.
But
we all know how that goes.
Yeah, just one of those days. I got off work. I was like, wow. Even before I got off.
Well, it's a Monday.
I'm just tired. Yeah, it's a Monday, too. I was at the Cubs game last night.
Okay.
How was that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
100% capacity. They finally got the third game on the Cardinals for the sweep. It wasn't like a very exciting game. Only it was a 2-0 score. And they scored both those runs in one inning. But like even then, it was still a good time. Still fun to be back. I went with a friend that I haven't really seen much since high school. I've seen him like once in the 4 years since he graduated, because he's 2 years older than me, and he just graduated college. So we caught up a little bit, and that was fun. And then my brothers were there too, because we actually used their season tickets, and then they wanted to bring some extra friends, so they bought 3 extra seats, and then ended up having 2 extra because 2 of the guys they were going to go with canceled, and so that's how I got to get me and my buddy to go.
Right.
So
always a good time.
So I had a little group then.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a good time. I went to one of the 60% capacity games back towards the end of May, and I honestly didn't mind it. Because I like the energy of the 100%, but like not having to worry about someone sitting right next to me with how close those.
Well,
like,
Wrigley's so small too.
Yeah, how tight those seats are and everything, and also the foul balls. Like, it was a lot easier to try and get one or think you might get one. And just I didn't, but it was nice to maybe think I could. But then back to 100%. It's still a lot of fun. I was really happy to be back. And hopefully I'll get to go to a few more. Actually, I'm going again next Sunday for Father's Day.
Nice.
So, yeah. Also joining me, and of course Nathaniel, is Take On Me Tyler Verdalis.
Take me on.
It's a great song.
Take on me.
It is a really good song. Speaking of which, we'll get to it, but great score.
Yeah.
Soundtrack. Score 2. We'll go with that.
Yeah, my bad.
Kind of interchangeable.
For the most part, I guess score makes
Score
you
means
think.
it's more composed for the movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
Soundtrack.
Soundtrack is just what music is put in there.
Correct.
Either way, it works though.
And when the characters
Look at
sorry.
Go ahead, Ty.
Delay got us.
Yeah, it's an early one.
I was just gonna say I think the score overall is just like pretty much all audio in the movie. But
Yeah.
I know that's not the proper way to probably look at it, but I just look at like everything in there, like all the Foley work that goes in there. Hi,
Sure.
Ryan Foley.
Well, that's more sound mixing then when you get into like the Foley work and everything. That's where I would say it's like the complete package is the sound mixing.
Yeah.
And fun fact for your film students out there, when a character is aware of the music that is being played, it's called diegetic sound, and when they're unaware of it, it's called non-diegetic sound.
Learn something new every day.
There you go.
That, of course, is his milkshake bring all the boys to the yard, BlakeHolder.
What up?
How was your week, man?
Good, man. Not bad. Got to kick it, see some friends.
Yeah.
I went go-karting on Sunday.
Oh,
whoa!
Track in Joliet.
Like a K1 kind of place, or was it more of like
I've been to K1 a few years back.
Okay.
That's like an indoor one.
Yeah.
And I think they might be like electric powered.
Yeah.
But I went to a place in Joliet. I think it's called Circuit or something.
Sure.
Kart Circuit. And they were gas powered, and that
Okay.
was dope.
Yeah.
That yesterday, that was really fun. So,
And do they just do go-karts? Is it one of those like all entertainment places? They have like go-karts, mini golf, and like all that stuff?
no, it was just
Just
go
go-karts,
karting,
cool,
and then they also
cool.
have like a racetrack,
Sure.
as well.
Sure.
But yeah, it was fun. That was a group of 5 of my friends.
Okay.
We did 2 races, and yeah, that was fun. That was one of the more exciting, just kind of like outdoor things. It was
Sure,
nice
yeah.
all weekend. I was like, let's try to do something outside.
It was a little hot, but
It
you know,
was.
it wasn't unbearable at all.
Yeah.
Nice weather. Sun's out most of the time.
Yeah, we went later in the
Can't
evening. It was
complain.
about 8:30
Sure.
or so because they were open till 10.
Okay.
So yeah, it was cool though,
Good time-
man.
good time
yeah.
to go, yeah.
That was definitely fun. That
Did
was
you
the highlight.
did you have to wear like helmets and stuff for that, or is that like a little bit slower moving to where you didn't have to?
No, you had to wear helmets. So I mean, they give you all that. You had to sign waivers
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean, those things are going. I'd probably say at least 40 miles an hour.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
definitely moving. It's fun. But yeah, you'll see people spin out every once in a while. So I mean, you got to be kind of conscious of other drivers.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was fun, man. I'd definitely do it again.
Maybe the Back Row boys can go do it.
Would be
Yeah,
a good
man.
time.
Yeah, that'd be
2
fun.
races, $55.
Get a little
That's not
F1
bad.
going.
Not bad at all. Dude. Yeah, not bad at all.
Little Drive to Survive action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little.
We'll start our own documentary.
All right. Well, I'm good to hear the squadron. The
squadron.
squadron is doing well. Let's get in the news though, boys. Tyler, this one's for you. Lord of the Rings anime movie in the works from New Line and Warner Bros. Animation.
Listeners, you won't be able to hear this, but Tyler just fist pumped 15 times and then clapped a lot too.
Yeah. So Warner Bros. And well, I guess Amazon owns Lord of the Rings now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't even know what the rights are.
I don't know what
at
the
this
rights
point.
are. But it's from Warner Bros. Movie division. They are doing a Lord of the Rings animated film. It's going to be fully like feature-length film. Hopefully not. Well, maybe not hopefully, but like I don't know if it'll be the 3-hour-long
Sure.
Lord of the Rings epics that we're used to. But it's going to be a full feature film and plan to release in theaters. So it's not like a straight to streaming anything like that. It is called The Lord of the Rings: The War of Rohirrim, and it takes place after I think it's the Two Towers. Yes, Rohirrim ties to the original trilogy, specifically the second installment, The Two Towers, by focusing on an untold story behind Helm's Deep, the fortress at the center of the movie's epic battle. The story will be set hundreds of years before the fateful war, and, according to the announcement, tell of the life and blood-soaked times of its founder, Helm Hammerhand, the King of Rohan. Does that mean anything to you, Ty, lore-wise?
Yeah. There's some recognizable names in there, and obviously anybody that's watched Lord of the Rings knows that Helm's Deep is the main place in there for the ending battle, and it's really epic. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited for this. I read a little bit about this when I first heard about it. I think it was actually over the weekend that it kind of came up.
Yeah,
for me.
it was.
I was kind of browsing my phone and sitting on one of the porches by myself before people got up and moving. But yeah, man, I'm really excited. Anything that has to do with Lord of the Rings and just kind of that fantasy vibe in general is always going to catch my attention. But when it comes to, I mean, you put those words out there, Lord of the Rings, like I'm immediately in. I don't even care like what it is, what style it's in, what like age they're in. I'm in. Then I'll kind of go from there.
That's just one of those franchises for you where you're just going to accept anything that they put out there and watch it?
Yep, have to.
Yeah. This is going to be written by Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews. They did Netflix's Emmy-winning The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance series. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but I have not.
Tyler has.
Have you,
I
Ty?
was gonna say, yeah, that's another big one for me. I
Okay.
grew up around the Dark Crystal.
Oh, okay.
It's very it's puppets. I think that might bring it back to you a little bit. But yeah, I thought this was great, and this got one season, and then they were done with it, and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. But yeah, I mean, Dark Crystal has a really good following too, and those guys are obviously well versed in the fantasy era, and so yeah, we'll see how they do. I'm really excited that they're on board. So yeah,
Cool. Yeah, there's no really release date or anything attached to this.
yeah, this is like super early talks.
Yeah, this is like just announcement talks, but I'm excited. I mean, you've got that TV show in the works at Amazon, and this now in the works for the theatrical release. So it should be good. Hopefully we get some more good Lord of the Rings content.
If I'm remembering right, the horn of the Hammerhand is what Gimli blows in Helm's Deep that signals all of them to ride out on there. So that'll be pretty cool. See if that guy's just carrying that thing around.
Yeah, maybe we'll get the horn's origin story.
12-foot
Yeah.
horn.
All right, well, that's it for the news. We can move on into trailer talk, where we have a new Space Jam trailer. Space Jam: A New Legacy, of course. This is set to come out. Let's see if it says here. Soonish, sometime this summer, I believe.
I think it's July.
Let's see if it says here. It does not. It just takes a simple Google search, though.
Give it a googs.
July 16th.
July 16th.
So we'll probably end up reviewing this, I would imagine.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Overall excitement levels, even after this second trailer now?
Excited to see what sort of beautiful disaster this is.
You think it's going to be a disaster?
I don't have a lot of faith in it.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
This looks like they took all the wrong lessons from Ready Player One.
Sure.
In the first Space Jam.
Okay.
Hey, but Don Cheadle's funny. Hopefully he's
like
cool.
Don Cheadle. LeBron James,
One guy.
not known for his acting chops. I have not seen, what's that movie he's in?
Trainwreck, I want to say?
Trainwreck. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
I have not. But I've heard he's not the best in it.
Oh, really? I heard he was funny.
I don't know. Again, couldn't see it, didn't see it, couldn't tell you. But this trailer, looked fine. It seemed like it was just more of the same of what we've seen before.
Well, it's like, who is this for? Is this for kids of this generation? Because I don't really think they know the Looney Tunes or anything like that, and like all these different movie references that they keep throwing out. And then if it's for people of our generation, it doesn't feel like it's sincere. It doesn't feel like it's aimed at us, too.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's aimed at 90s kids in the 90s, just with 2020's technology, or 2021 technology.
Yeah, and LeBron James.
And LeBron.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point, Nathaniel. It's kind of hard to pinpoint who you think the target audience for this thing is. I'm sure a bulk of it will probably end up being children, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, I don't even know if they know, or the Looney Tunes even popular anymore.
Right.
I mean,
They're not.
Yeah.
Do kids even know the Looney Tunes? I mean, is that a fair question to ask?
Well, yeah, genuinely.
To be honest, I don't think they do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I know they've done more Looney Tunes shorts recently. From what I've heard from like other podcasts, they're supposed to be pretty good, and they're like available on HBO Max.
Okay.
But I just don't know if because like there's not the Saturday morning cartoons anymore. Really.
Yeah.
It feels like it'd just be harder for people to find and connect with.
And I mean, kids nowadays with the internet, they're cartoons and I'm 20. I'm more referencing
the younger generation.
The even younger generation. They got iPads and stuff since.
Well, they just get their stuff on YouTube. It
Exactly.
feels like.
YouTube and when it's not YouTube, they have all these streaming services and there's so much content out them for them to consume that I don't think they're going back and watching any old Looney Tunes cartoons. And so, you said they make new ones, but who knows if they're actually checking them out?
Right.
Because that's just an old IP. So, if it's not kids that are excited for this movie, then who is? Because it does seem like it's more of a kids movie. But we'll have to see. Maybe they add some fan service in there. Maybe they do like something that Pixar does, where they kind of make the message they make the movie acceptable for kids, but also make some kind of message.
Yeah, they could Lego movie this. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just don't think that. Based on what I've seen, I don't think that's gonna happen.
We'll see.
But exactly, we'll have to see. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything specific from the trailer you guys want to bring up? Usually I try to talk about the trailer.
It
but
just kind of washed over me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have too much to kind of deep dive on it. I like the cast of the players in it.
Okay.
They have a WNBA player in it. So that's kind of a cool thing that they're doing, just kind of pushing that agenda of women's sports and stuff. That's stuff we should be trying to do in today's age, as well as a handful of other current NBA players. So, yeah, I mean, I think stuff like that's cool. It would have been cool to see his son in the film, like if it was actually played by one of his children, but it's not.
Right, I kind of noticed that as well. But that also, I mean, original Space Jam was like that too.
Yeah, that's true. So, I don't know. I'll probably watch it, but obviously I don't think it's really meant for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Age 26, so we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we will have to see. Come July 16th. But that's it for our trailer talk. It's time to move on to Adam Schwartz's completely subjective new to streaming list for the week of 6/13 through 6/19.
That kills me every time.
New listeners, if you're new to the completely subjective new streaming list, there is a lot of things coming to these streaming services, but not all of it, in my completely subjective opinion, is worth checking out.
It's important.
So this is what I've cherry picked from this new to streaming list that I think might be worth checking out. To Netflix, we have Picture a Scientist. This is a 2020 documentary, a documentary from directors Ian Chaney and Sharon Shattuck, looking at sexual harassment and gender inequality in science fields. Sounded like an interesting documentary. In case you're looking for something new to watch, of course. Also coming to Netflix, The Devil Below. That was a horror film from this year. Did either of you guys, Blake, you said you checked that out, didn't you? Or you wanted to?
I don't think so. I may have said something like that,
Okay.
or I haven't seen it. And maybe I've said it was kind of on my radar. I'd probably have to look into it again to kind of refresh my memory on that. But
it's not one I'm familiar with.
I thought I might be mistaken it for someone else. I thought it was for something else.
There was
you might
one
be
called
thinking of
In the Earth.
That's what I'm
you
thinking
were-
of.
yeah, you saw.
That must be what I'm thinking of.
So you may be thinking of that, or you may be thinking of As Above, So Below.
Which we have talked about before too.
Yeah. Well, either way, this is 2021 horror thriller coming to Netflix. Directed by Brad Parker, so I'm not sure if either of you guys are familiar.
No, not one.
It's
I'm
not
familiar
really.
with.
This movie follows 4 amateur adventurers exploring a remote location in the Appalachian Mountains. So maybe it's a descent kind of situation.
Could be.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll check it out. And then we're also getting Penguin Town. This is a docu-series following a group of penguins that are breaking all the rules.
I'm sold. I like penguins.
This is, I think, got more than one episode. It's a few episodes for season 1. And then we're also getting Silver Linings Playbook, the return to Netflix. It was on there for a very long time. I don't know when it left, but
Quick side note, not to run on a tangent, but have any of you gentlemen ever seen the skeleton of a penguin?
no.
No, I don't think I have.
It's like
Yes.
Do I have to look it up?
it's like 60% neck.
Oh.
It's so weird.
Okay.
Yeah, like basically up from where their arms are.
Yeah.
It's just neck.
It's just
Yeah.
a spinal column.
Yeah. Looks goofy the first time I saw it. I was like, whoa.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Listeners, we are looking at the skeleton of
Can
a
I see
penguin.
that picture?
Go ahead and Google it for yourself. Just a lot of neck.
Yeah.
But I bet most birds are kind of like that.
I'm sure. I saw on TikTok the other day, like owls without feathers. These things are aliens, man. Hang on.
Oh yeah, that's creepy. Like baby owls or like teenage adolescent owls.
Yeah.
Look really weird.
No,
Look at
thank
these
you.
things, Nathaniel.
I think they're kind of cute.
Oh wow. Did you see these, Blake?
Yeah.
Listeners, of
I've
course,
I've
we're-
seen that before. Yeah, that's owls.
This is a
definitely
great
weird.
gag for an audio podcast, but Google owls without feathers and you'll see what I'm talking about. They're kind of creepy, but I love owls.
True. Owls are cool.
Yeah, owls are cool. Also killers, dude. Those things.
I thought you were saying killers are cool.
No.
No,
We're going
owls
real
are
true-
cool.
we're going-
We don't support killers.
Owls are killers,
We're going
man.
real true
They
crime
are,
podcast
they are
early.
true assassins. All right, well, that's it for Netflix. Amazon Prime, you're getting Paddington. Just the first one, not the second.
Okay.
That's it for Amazon Prime. Hulu is getting The Forge and Fire, complete 7th season.
Hey.
Oh,
Gone Girl.
Podcast favorite.
Yeah, it is a podcast favorite. It was on at work the other day while I was in the break room. Me and Justin were watching
It'll
it.
occasionally pop on there.
Yeah. Gone Girl.
Oh,
One
yeah, I thought I
that,
saw that when I was scrolling on there recently. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Good
then
movie.
Dave season 2 premiere. I think we said Thursday. Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, I think Wednesday's FX.
Wednesday,
Thursday
okay.
goes to Hulu.
Sure.
The day after. So
Yeah, that's been a fan favorite of me and Blake's.
have Nathaniel and Ty, have you guys checked out Dave yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Now might be the
I have
time.
not had time.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you guys would get a kick out of it. You'd at least get a few laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
it's definitely one I think I would enjoy.
Yeah.
And then to HBO Max, there's nothing much coming. So, but you got a lot of HBO Max content.
Sure.
You're not really dried up there. And then to Disney Plus, you're getting Loki episode 2 and Bad Batch episode 8. Speaking of Loki, I think a few of us have watched the first episode, have we not?
I have.
Nod, nod, wink,
Indeed.
wink, Ty, Nathaniel, and myself. I think we're going to go ahead and do, since we all have seen it, we're going to go ahead and do a slight little spoiler segment here. So if you've not seen the first episode of Loki, go ahead and check the episode description. I'll give you a timestamp to jump to where you can skip over the Loki spoilers here. Shouldn't be too long. Nathaniel, you want to hit that spoiler noise button here?
Sure, will.
Shit goes down in a universe that's absent of time.
Time is irrelevant there, we'll say.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think this is. I watched the episode last night. I think it's pretty cool what they're doing. I like the concept of the time. What is it?
Time variance authority.
Yeah, time variance authority. I think it's cool. And as I was watching the episode, I was like, how is this a thing? But then the Avengers were able to go back in time and mess all that stuff up. But they clarified it. They were like, they were supposed to do that. That was
right.
supposed to happen and everything. So, it allows, it didn't break any of the rules, and it allows for rules going further if they do play with time even more in the future.
Which I think they will.
Yes, and I think they will. And so I'm glad that they have figured it out up front, and they've kind of let us know up front this is how it works. As long as it's on the, what do they call it? The
sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline, yes. That, everything's cool.
Yeah. Everything's A-okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the aesthetic?
I'm liking it so far. I think Owen Wilson's good.
No, I think he's great.
Yeah, I think he's really good.
It's been very fun.
Yeah. Aesthetically, I think the design of the TVA and everything is really cool. Their city was awesome. How it just kind of went on forever.
I like that they're just kind of peon office workers, too.
Yeah. Yeah. How long have you worked here? Oh,
yeah.
It's hard to say. Time works differently. And you kind of get the idea that they're just eternally in this agency,
right.
And I think that's cool. I'm interested to see. Hopefully there's some twists and turns that, we can't even see coming yet. And I'm sure they have that stuff lined up or cool things tied in. The fact that they can go anywhere is kind of intriguing because maybe they go back to some favorite locations or favorite events from the MCU.
Could be.
So, yeah, we'll have to see how things play out. Ty, what are your thoughts here?
I think it's great. You guys pretty much hit a lot of stuff. I like the overall design. I like that it's kind of got like a little bit of like a 70s, 80s kind of vibe because like the informational cartoons and stuff like that are really funny. It's kind of, I don't know if you guys ever played Fallout, but it's kind of like those characters.
A little bit,
where you get like a little, so it's almost kind of something that's really cool because we've already seen a lot of stuff. Like we know like what's gonna happen, and like see Loki be able to see himself in the future for things that haven't happened yet, and now you know why he's kind of changed and what his perspective on things have become. So I think it's cool that they're elaborating on a lot of that, and Owen Wilson is obviously, like we have said, great. But yeah, I think this has so much more room to grow, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on the Loki thing. I think this has expanded his character in just one episode. You definitely get a better look at his character and all of his motivations, and I think that's cool because he's got that arc over those last few movies where he finally comes around, and you realize he kind of comes around to the good side. But in this first episode, you see that's always been in him. He's just kind of chosen to take the dark side or take the bad side just because he wants that power. But that's something that he's always kind of had in him as well, is that good nature. He just knows that he knows is there. He just chooses to ignore it, kind of thing, which I think is interesting. We'll see how that plays into his character. Do you guys think? I was thinking about this last night. Do you guys think? Because now they're setting it up, of course, so that he helps the TVA hunt down his rogue Loki is what they're setting it up as. Who knows if that's actually him? But if they help him, they'll try to reset. They'll try to get him a new path on the sacred timeline. Do you think that's possible?
Maybe. I guess.
And reintroduce him into the MCU, because theoretically they could do it. Who knows if they'll actually do it? Would you guys want that to happen? Would you be okay if they reintroduce him? And
I'd like a Thor Loki reconnection. I think they're always fun together.
I'm just mixed on that. I like the series. I like the idea of the series, and I like this first episode. But at the same time, I do also feel like we've seen a lot of Loki. Sure. I mean, we've seen a lot of Loki, and I think it might be time to just let it go.
All right, fair enough.
But
I mean,
I wouldn't be super opposed
to
him not coming back.
What'd you say, Ty?
Yeah, I was saying I really like him. I have obviously delved into like that mythos before with Thor and Odin and just kind of like the Viking lore of all that. So I really enjoy that kind of stuff. So to kind of see all that kind of play in for me it's always cool to see that universe and how this is going to be really cool. And I really like Tom as Loki. I think he does an incredible job. He's just got that
great actor.
Villain mischief piece about him. And if they do end up actually making that the other Loki, it'll be very interesting and very cool to see Tom play both sides of those coin in the same show.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that is a true thing. That could be a potential showdown that would be really interesting.
Yeah. We will have to see. All right. Well, we'll be talking about that more as we watch more episodes and as more comes out. We're going to head on up to spoilers here. So welcome back, listeners like BlakeHolder, who did not watch Loki.
Nope, as you can imagine.
And you said before the podcast you might not hop on. You might, depending on how.
Yeah, I mean, this is.
Say.
Yeah, man, this is probably one I'm more than likely to try to watch, try to tune into, opposed to WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, just because I kind of like the Loki character.
Sure,
but yeah, we'll see. I can get all my MCU needs satisfied just with watching the movies.
Sure,
fair enough.
Fair enough. Well, let's continue on, I guess, with what we're watching here. Nathaniel, why don't you kick it off, sir?
Okay, what we've been watching. Well, folks, after a couple weeks of when I kind of have been feeling, just a little bit, not bored, but maybe just a little bit run down with movies.
Burnt out.
Maybe a little burnout. I went fully back on my bullshit this last week. So we got a little bit of a list here. Number one, I got to Inside, the Bo Burnham special.
Yes.
Most of the listeners, I'm sure, have heard about this at some point over the last few weeks. If not, it's Bo Burnham. On this very podcast.
Yeah.
It's Bo Burnham. He's inside his house. It's his new special. It's really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. The songs have been stuck in my head all week. They're now available on Spotify or any other streaming service if you enjoy those. It's definitely aimed at our generation, pretty significantly, I would say.
Yeah.
And the thing that I took from it is that I feel like Burnham in his creative world has really gotten a lot better, and you can see his progression both as a writer / songwriter and as a director too.
Yeah.
He hits a lot of really, really good I don't want to call them shots, more just
notes.
A lot of continuity in his editing.
Well, yeah, I would just say his beats, he knows which beats to hit and where to put them. He's got a really, really good sense of timing and editing as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, go check that out for sure. Rewatch Train to Busan. It was Waz's first time with that. I've talked about that on the podcast before. But
Papa Schwartz checked that out.
Oh yeah, what did he think?
He loved it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, it's a Korean zombie movie. If you are kind of worn out on zombie movies, I promise give this one a chance. It is really, really good. Watched the first episode of Loki. Got to that, like I said. Another one I entered this week is a movie called Take Shelter. So this is one that I kind of missed the first time around. It came out way back in 2011. But it stars Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain. And Michael Shannon is this guy who's like Midwest. I think he works for a drilling company. So he's like a leatherneck, like blue collar guy, and he starts to have these really crazy apocalyptic visions, and it's either kind of he has a family history of schizophrenia, so it's either these kind of schizophrenic visions that are coming in, or he's actually seeing the end of the world ahead of time, and so he starts to build the shelter out in his yard and everything, and it's just kind of builds off of that. It's really good, definitely worth checking out. It's directed by Jeff Nichols, who we actually talked about recently because he is the one that will be doing a spinoff in A Quiet Place.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen that and kind of want to maybe see what Quiet Place 3 could look like, check out Take Shelter. One thing we didn't talk about last week, Waz and I actually went through all of Ted Lasso again.
Again?
Yeah, Waz hadn't seen it yet.
Sure.
And after we shotgunned both Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2, we were like, we should probably watch something that's a little bit
lighthearted. Yeah.
Like we need to bless this house.
That's a great one that's very easy to binge, too,
Yeah.
because I binged that in 2 days.
Yeah, Waz is similar. I think he got to it in 3.
Yeah.
Along with that, I got to Chef, which I actually had not seen before. That one I want to say is 2012.
I've heard of
maybe?
this one. I've heard it's good.
Yeah,
I heard it's pretty underrated.
It's Jon Favreau. He is a chef at a high-class restaurant. He doesn't really have as much control over the menu. He's got to kind of a rough point in life, or a valley. He's divorced. He's trying to have a better relationship with his kid. All of that good stuff. And then it's kind of how he moves on from that and how he grows and heals. And it's a really good movie. Definitely worth checking out. Pretty lighthearted, easy watch on like a Sunday morning or something like that. Excuse me. Because I haven't started enough animes, we finally got to, or Waz had me start Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is kind of one of those classic ones that a lot of people talk about too.
Yeah, isn't that a long one though?
No, it's 64 episodes.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, so there's 2 different Full Metal Alchemists.
There is.
There's one that's the original, and then I believe that's kind of quite extended, and then this is kind of like the whole story the way it was supposed to be. So,
Sure.
Got through that. We finished Invincible. I'm not sure if I said that last week or not.
You said you watched more of it. I don't think you said you finished
I
it.
think you said you finished it.
Okay, well, either way, Invincible's done. So did that, and then watched Deadpool, and then actually right afterwards I watched Deadpool 2, which is also another very easy to binge twofer, double feature. So yeah, that's still pretty good. I don't know if we'll talk about that. If you've seen Deadpool, you've probably seen Deadpool 2. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it is.
But that is it for what I watched this last week.
Cool.
Nice.
Ty, you want to take over?
Yeah. Tyler, you go.
Popcorn Ty.
I can go. I did not get around to as much this week.
Sure.
And I'm probably forgetting some stuff, in which case I'll mention it next week if I remember, or if Leah can remind me. We did some Westworld. We had The Office on at the cabin when like nobody was in there, just to have something on.
Mm-hmm.
So that was funny to catch like in the mornings and stuff like that. I haven't watched that show in forever.
It's still good, man.
Watched Loki, obviously. Did a lot of YouTube and Twitch. And then it's funny that you brought up Forge and Fire, because when we stopped at my cabin Wednesday night, it was like one of the only things that I could find to stream, because we don't have internet down there, so you have to put like a hotspot on there, and then it goes to the TV, and then whoever's logged into the TV, that's like what you get.
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin Tess was actually logged in, and I found Forge and Fire, and that was actually the first time that Chris Sargent, who's the guy that rode down there with me, had ever seen it, and
cool.
we actually started talking about it when we were around all the other guys, and he was like, dude, I actually really like that show now.
Yeah, no,
it's great.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a great show. So, other than that, I can't.
Where are you at on Westworld?
Season 2, episode 5.
How do you like season 2 so far?
I still like it. I think Leah might be a little more out. But yeah, I think there's still some pretty good substance there.
Okay.
I guess we'll see once I'm done with the second season if I really want to continue, but I still like it.
Okay.
So
you think you're gonna go for season 3?
I think so.
Okay.
We'll see.
I haven't seen that one, so
I
you're
just
gonna
couldn't
have to
tell you.
report on that, because I haven't even heard much about it. I just really don't know many people that have seen it.
For sure. But yeah, I think that's all I got. So Blake, Popcorn Blake.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, I've just been following up on The Wire. I told you guys I started that last week. Now I'm beginning of season 2. But that's just a really good show, and this is kind of the first time of me consciously watching it like as an adult, you know. So yeah, this is good. I'm hooked. I'm sold all over again. That's kind of taking up any of the free time I have. Did watch Deadpool. Similar to Nathaniel, I have both on Vudu. So I did end up watching the second one too.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's just easy to watch. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I didn't watch it the same night, but the next day I was like bored. I was like, what can I watch? And I just threw it on and had it on in the background. Second one is just as funny.
Yeah, I like the second one more in some ways, and then
Okay.
there's one big thing that I just do not like very much about it.
In the second one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, funny enough about the second one, I was referencing Atlanta the past few weeks. I've been watching that. The girl who plays Domino.
Yeah.
Domino. Yeah, she's one of the main characters in Atlanta. Zazie Beetz, and then as well as I'm gonna say little boy because obviously he's older than that. But in Deadpool 2, the guy who Wade Wilson tries to
Russell.
save. Yeah, he's actually in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah.
So, yeah. And
Julian Dennison, I think is his name. Yeah.
So,
Zazie Beetz also voices one of the main characters in Invincible.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That might have sold me even more. You know what I mean? And
You guys both got to hop on that, man. I think you both like it.
When I was go-karting, one of my buddies was talking about that. He's like,
Yeah.
dude, that show's dope. But he's like a huge anime head guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You don't have to be to get into it, though.
Yeah.
As long as you like superheroes and you're okay with the animation, you're okay with like cartoon kind of thing,
Yeah.
you'll like it.
Yeah, man. I think it's time. I might try to see if I can start that after I finish The Wire.
Yeah, I was about to say once you finish The Wire.
That-
And plus, that's only
about
8
it.
episodes, and they're 45
Okay.
minutes apiece.
Isn't it one season?
One
Yeah,
season
okay.
right now. They're already confirmed. I think actually 2 more.
Sure.
Probably.
Maybe at least a second season. Maybe I think a third as well.
Well, yeah, the comic run is done, so they
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
have the whole thing to work from. So.
Right.
Yeah, and they gave Robert Kirkman a lot of freedom on this one, from what it seems like, from what an interview I heard with him.
Cool.
So
Well, yeah, maybe I'll try to get to that one. But I'm assuming, is that something you're watching or is that something you finished?
that's something I finished a couple months ago, and
Okay.
then that was what Nathaniel just finished last week. But
Gotcha.
I did watch a few things. As I said last week, I watched the first Fast and the Furious, and this past week I watched Too Fast, Too Furious.
How did you like that one? Everyone
Let's
that's
go.
notoriously held as being like a really bad one. I like that one though.
You know, it's
to be
not
honest with
bad. Story wise, it's
Yeah.
not great, but like the driving, I thought was actually better than the first.
Yeah.
The driving is a lot of fun. They do a lot more street kind of driving through traffic and kind of cool stunts. Whereas the
Yep.
first one, they do a lot more racing.
Yeah.
And then there's a few things of racing in this one, but
You get
overall,
introduced to Ludacris's character.
yeah,
Tyrese as well.
Yeah, there was a good tweet this week from one of the critics I follow to a link to one of her articles that was making a pretty impassioned plea that Too Fast, Too Furious is actually the film that sets up the rest of the franchise and what the
Yeah,
rest
I
of the
like
franchise
that
is going to be.
Yeah.
With more stunts, less racing, more kind of
Yeah,
this crime story kind
Sure.
of thing.
yeah, and I
And-
can
I'm
I
sorry.
can definitely already see that happening. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's very different than the first in some ways.
And
Yeah.
John Singleton, as we know from Boys in the Hood earlier in our podcast, is a very gifted director, and I think he's a step above the first film's director,
Yeah.
just in kind of his shot knowledge and how he crafts a film. So
For sure. And Tyrese delivers one of my favorite one-liners in cinema history in that movie.
I was waiting for it because I remember
Yeah.
you said it last week, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it must be sometime in this movie because
Yeah.
he kept saying "cuh" at the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's coming up somewhere.
Yeah, man.
But it's
Classic.
Ejectocito, right? That's
Yep.
the one you like.
Yeah, that's hilarious every time.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I gotta watch Tokyo Drift next week, but I think all of us do actually.
a bit of sizzle.
Bit of sizzle. We'll get to that later. Besides Too Fast, Too Furious, watch more Master of None. I'm now mostly done with season 2, towards the end of season 2. Still not as in love with it as I was the first time, but it's still, I think, okay enough to maybe be worth a watch if you haven't seen it before. And I still haven't seen this third season to really report back on to see if that's worth it. That's really what I'm seeing.
Sure,
waiting
what
to
you're
see.
waiting for.
Yeah, because I want to see, first season was 2015. I think the second season was 2016 or 2017. And so, there's been a bit of a time jump here, and a lot of things have changed. So I'm interested to see how that third season turns out. One thing I want to touch on last week that I didn't, for some reason, just didn't think to talk about. Nathaniel, you mentioned how it was like a very new show when it came out and very
Right.
modern. And it does deal with a lot of themes of like PC culture and how some things are just not how they used to, or how some things are not how they used to be, and that kind of stuff mixed into the comedy. That stuff in general still holds up, but it's crazy that some things that are in there are actually, even from 2015 to now, some things have changed where it's like that's even not that like
Sure.
that's not up to our 2021 standards of PC,
yeah.
which is crazy to think that so much has changed in 6 years. So much has changed in 2 for sure. But even then, that's another thing that I'm looking forward to seeing in the third season is how they even take that. Yeah, they address that and see how they take that into the third season, because that was obviously something very important to them in the first 2. Is addressing that kind of stuff,
Sure.
and having that be very tied into the themes and to the events of the show. So we'll have to see again how that third season turns out. But overall, I'm still liking it. It hasn't turned me off enough to where I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. I'm still kind of like turning it on. I'm like, it's one of the just more of those casual shows I can put on and kind of just listen to in the background or just decompress with. So I'm fine with it for now. Watched Loki, and then the other thing I've been watching and can't seem to stop watching is Bo Burnham's Inside. I've watched it. I can't even count anymore, man. Like, yeah, I just turn it on at night sometimes when I just want to watch something and have something on, and it's like you said, Nathaniel, those songs keep getting stuck in my head. And Bo Burnham, ever since I've started listening to him, his songs have gotten stuck in my head like all the way back in like 2014. When I started, when I first found out who he was, like even his YouTube stuff, I would go back and just listen to constantly, just because it's very, very catchy music, but it's also like his lyrically, he's actually very good in what he says and how he says it, and the two intertwine really, really well, where these songs just end up being so catchy, but then they also have such a meaning to them, where you're like, man, I just want to listen to that again and
Sure.
get that meaning or whatever out of it. What was your favorite song? You mentioned you thought
I really like Welcome to the Internet.
Welcome to the Internet. I think that has to be my favorite as well. That's probably my second favorite song of his in his entire like discography or whatever you want to call it, his entire catalog of all of his shows and YouTube stuff. That is just so well crafted, down to the edits and everything in the show or in the special, but also just the music itself. When you listen to each piece of it, it's just so back and forth, and the fact that he plays it as like a circus theme too.
Yeah.
It's just really, really clever. It's great. Again, if you haven't seen Inside yet, please go watch it. But yeah, that's it for my
Close the
watching.
book on here.
And I'll have to reopen it back up. That was a little bit more
Yeah,
dramatic
hey,
than
it's
it should
okay.
have been. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, but Deadpool, guys. Welcome to the main review segment here, listeners. Nathaniel.
Yeah.
If the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of our review segment here at Back Row Banter?
What up, listeners? If you are new or if you have just forgotten, the way our review segment works here at Back Row Banter is it's split up into 2 sections, actually. There's going to be the non-spoiler section and then the spoiler section. In the non-spoiler section, much like the name describes, we kind of introduce the movie. We go into the, some of the plot, give you the IMDb summary, all the, what was the word I was going to go for there? Peripherals. There's a fun one for you. ACT word. All the peripherals around the movie itself, and then kind of give our initial thoughts. At the end of that segment, we all have to come to a decision. Do we recommend this movie? Do we not recommend this movie? There is no nuance on the internet. From then on, I'll play a spoiler sound, similar to the one you heard earlier, and we'll go full-on spoilers in the movie, give our deeper thoughts, any big plot points that are come after the spoiler warning, and really get down to the nitty-gritty on this. After that, I'll welcome everybody back, so if you didn't want to listen to the spoiler segment, you'll know where to come back in, and then we'll see where it ranks on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the pod so far, ranked. So that being said, Adam, tell me about Deadpool.
This is Deadpool, just the first one, listeners, not number 2. This is 2016, rated R, an hour and 48-minute runtime. Directed by Tim Miller, who I was trying to see hasn't done a ton else.
No, this was his first kind of big thing.
Yeah.
It was he was a special effects guy.
Yeah, that's what I saw on his IMDb as well. But he did this, and then following this up, he did Terminator: Dark Fate,
which I think is actually pretty good.
I haven't seen it. I've heard it's actually not as bad as some of the other Terminator sequels.
Yeah, I think if Terminator hadn't drove itself into the ground beforehand, that movie actually would have done pretty well.
Sure. And then he's done some Love, Death, and Robots. He did.
He created
episodes. Did he? Oh, is he the creator of it?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's one of the producers, creators.
Sure.
Because I think because he comes from that special effects background, I think a lot of the production companies are guys he knows or folks that he's seen and wants to give a little bit more time to and stuff. So I believe that's actually him and Fincher, them both created that.
Oh, okay, cool. He did not direct the second one, actually.
He did not, no.
The second one is David Leitch?
Yes, who's one of the John Wick guys.
Okay, cool. But it's starring Ryan Reynolds as the lead, of course, with T.J. Miller, Ed Skrein, and Marina Baccarin as the other, I would say, three main characters.
Yeah.
The IMDb summary reads as follows. A wisecracking mercenary gets experimented on and becomes immortal but ugly and sets out to track down the man who ruined his looks. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Solid. That's pretty up there as far as IMDb summaries go.
I just like it because it actually shows you the fact that this is already going to start out as a comedy. Like he's going to kill somebody because he destroyed his looks.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, it does. It plays into it too. But to fill in the big absolute here, what's his name? Wade Wilson.
Wade Wilson.
Yeah. What a superhero name. Wade Wilson. He's a ex-special forces turned mercenary on the streets kind of guy.
That's correct.
Falls in love with someone who works at a gentleman's club. It seems like.
Could be.
She's a waitress. I shouldn't say she's the dancer.
Oh, she's a hooker. She says so at the start.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yep.
But falls in love and but also finds out he has cancer.
That is true. Just when everything's coming up, Wade.
Just when everything is coming his way, things take a turn south, and he tries to undergo a procedure that cures his cancer, and things go south. He turns ugly, as the summary explains, and it's his quest to get his looks back, and then eventually get his girl back by doing so.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pretty simple plot overall.
Yeah, I would say so. He says in the beginning it's a love story, and at the end of the day, I guess you can consider it one.
Right. No, the filmmakers know that basically, the plot in this is tertiary.
Yeah.
You're there for Ryan Reynolds. You're there for Deadpool. Half of what makes Deadpool is he knows he's in a movie. Mm-hmm. He's able to step outside and go meta with everything, do a fourth wall break. So I think this is a very good example of writers, directors, actors, everyone understanding what they have and then just pulling that out to the fullest extent while also remaining a pretty small budget, if I remember correctly. Like this movie was made for I think maybe $30 or $40 million, something like that.
Yeah, I can try to find
it wasn't
out,
crazy, but they hide it really well. Like even if you think about it, there's very few sets. You don't really notice it because it's so many flashbacks.
Yeah.
But that the highway sequence takes up 30 to 45 minutes of this movie.
Budget is
together.
an estimated $58 million.
Okay. How much did it pull in?
Gross worldwide $782 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a big margin.
You got an easy green light for the second one.
Oh yeah,
that was fast. That was 2 years later.
Right. Well, you think if some of the because they actually greenlit the second one 2 days before this dropped, so they knew ahead of time kind of what they thought they had too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they probably made their money back on opening night.
Yeah, but I mean, if we went through our Entropy list and we looked at the Project Powers, the Mortal Kombats of the world, I bet they're probably right around that same
for the budget
mark. At least, if not more. You know.
I mean, that's not even that much for a superhero movie nowadays.
Oh, it's really not. No.
Yeah, it's really pretty low. This was actually my first full-time through.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. This came out in 2016. I was 16 at the time.
Ah, yes.
And my parents, for some reason, did not let me go see this.
Okay.
And I was a little upset, but it is what it is.
Did you go to your room?
You know what? I did. I cried. I slammed the door and I said, "Curse you, Papa Schwartz."
Doing it.
Yeah.
You tried to sneak out. Papa Schwartz caught you. It was a whole thing.
Brad's mom is literally going.
Just didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, even though I really wanted to. And then it came to DVD and just never really got around to seeing it. And then I tried watching it a few months ago with my girlfriend, and I fell asleep. Of course.
The ultimate sin.
Yeah, it was just it was a long day on that one. But yeah, I was gonna go back eventually. I haven't seen the second one yet. I want to. When you guys said you watched it right after, I was even thinking the same thing. But I had to get to sleep after I watched it. But I'm definitely planning on checking that out probably sometime this week, if not like tonight or tomorrow or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But I still really liked it. It's pretty much everything I expected to be. I knew of the Deadpool character. I knew all of his quirks and the breaking of the fourth wall and everything. I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he is perfect for this role. Do you guys think anyone else could have played Deadpool?
That was going to be my first question.
Yeah.
And
No.
he is.
I don't think there's
He was put on Earth.
Yeah.
For this role.
Yeah, there's certain iconic characters that they just fit. That's gonna be his until he dies.
I think so, man. I mean, he almost just plays himself.
Seriously,
he
yeah,
plays it
man.
up. He plays it up a lot, of course, but like it just feels like he's just
Right.
going at it.
It's Ryan Reynolds on screen with a red suit.
Yeah, it
sure.
really feels like that, and it's a lot of fun.
Work with the mouth.
All the jokes still land pretty well. I would have loved to watch this in the theater. I think watching a comedy with somebody else definitely changes your opinion of it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Papa Schwartz joined me for my watch. So
Okay.
at least I had him.
Was that his first watch?
Oh, no,
5 years later,
he of course
he's finally allowed you to watch it.
Yeah. He of course had seen it in theaters and just didn't let me go see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think you're spot on. This is one I saw in theaters. I want to say release weekend, maybe not release day, like maybe not that Thursday night. But
Blake, I remember you. Sorry to interrupt you, but I remember you telling a story of how you saw it with your girlfriend at the time, and that opening line of where he pauses while he's got the swords in the guy, and where he's like, "My boyfriend said this was a superhero movie."
She found that hilarious because that's like the only way I could really describe
well,
it.
It came out on Valentine's
Sure.
Day.
Yeah, definitely. So I was like, I mean, it's a superhero movie, and she was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Fucking kebab.
Yeah. So yeah, man, this movie was hysterical in a movie theater. I was saying a comedy theater.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, Gina Carano's in it. We got it on
R.I.P.
screen, of course, listeners. So you might hear us shout some things out, but. Yeah, R.I.P. She didn't die, but she might as well have in some ways. Blake, Ty, Nathaniel. Any first-time watch stories you want to share? Or?
This is one that I was actually in England when this came out.
So how was the perception over there?
Yeah, I was about to ask.
I saw it in a packed theater.
Okay.
They were definitely in on it. I'm pretty sure I saw it that weekend too, the opening weekend. But yeah, it was a good time. Everyone was there, was having fun. I don't remember it being too crazy or anything like that. But I went into it with moderate expectations. I think Deadpool is a character that can so easily go bad.
Yeah,
if
it was kind of iffy.
One too many, suck my balls joke, and you're just kind of like, I'm fucking out. But
for sure.
They do a really good job, I feel, of pretty much kind of towing that line in this movie a lot of times.
I don't even feel like they get that close, No,
it's pretty tame overall.
It is. I never feel like
it's an R rating, but if you kind of know what you're in for ahead of time.
They balance it so well where it's like it's never like repeat. They just keep constantly throwing it at you.
Sure.
It's like it's steady. It's
it
steady
never
with
feels
their humor.
Too crass, I guess, is one way to look at it. But yeah, it was a great time. I really enjoyed it when I saw it at the time. I think I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times since then, and it still holds up. Thankfully it had been a little while since I had seen it this last time, so there's definitely a few jokes that I had forgotten about, or a couple things that I picked up on that I didn't remember doing the first time. So still a good one to revisit as well.
Sure.
Ty?
I've read a lot of Deadpool stuff before I even came up to this, so I already kind of knew what I was getting into. Actually, I definitely knew what I was getting into. So to have a name with Ryan Reynolds behind it was a really cool thing, just because we've obviously seen him do some pretty bad stuff, but we've obviously seen him do some pretty good stuff. So he was perfect for this, man. His attitude, his overall just charisma, and his personal comedy that he carries is just incredible, and his deliverance is absolutely ridiculous.
He's got great timing with it too.
Huh?
His timing is good for just most of his jokes, man. He plays it so well, the way he delivers everything. Sorry, continue, Ty. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, everything about it's just really great for him, and he does a really killer job. I don't really have a first time watch. I honestly don't remember. I know I saw it in theaters for sure.
Okay.
But I do remember coming back and just being like, "Yo, that was dope."
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big talk of the town, when everything first started, and it's cool just to see a character that you've been reading about come to life in a film. And this is one of those ones that does it incredibly well.
Yeah, I remember this being a very anticipated superhero movie for a long time, because we had obviously had we had already been in and acknowledged that we were in the kind of the golden age of superhero movies, and so people for a long time clamored for this, especially after that highway scene. Kind of teaser short came out with Ryan Reynolds, and everyone saw that, and they were like clamoring for a full feature film. But yeah, I think it turned out great. I think this is going to be a recommend all around from what it sounds like. I wouldn't expect anything else really.
Yeah, recommend from me. If you haven't seen it before or you are curious, watch a trailer and you'll know exactly what you're in for.
Yeah. Ty, Blake recommends?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. All day.
All right, well, that's going to be a recommend all around, of course. If you have not seen Deadpool and you do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead and check the episode description where you can check the timestamp to jump to, where we rank it up upon the Entropy list.
Hop upon.
But it's time for spoilers. Shit goes funny down.
Shit goes down.
Shit's funny.
Funny shit goes down.
Yeah, I was thinking right before we entered spoilers, I was like, dude, is there even how much more is there to say about this movie? It's kind of hard to talk about in depth. It's just really funny.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more we can add on, but one thing I was thinking about, TJ Miller, I think is really good.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's kind of a creep. He's not coming back. They confirmed after Deadpool 2 that he's not coming back for anything else. But yeah, I mean, the theme overall, if we're going to go with that, is the love story, right? And so the character of Vanessa, who's played by Marina Baccarin, is obviously kind of his main goal throughout it. They do go pretty lighthearted with the fact that more or less the only reason that he doesn't, the main tension is that he just doesn't want to show her that he's ugly.
Yeah.
Which upon the kind of 4th rewatch, I was kind of like, that is really thin. But you're just on board because you're on board at that point.
I mean, it just, I think it's obviously an insecurity thing. And even though it's a superhero movie, even though it's a comedy, that whole thing of is she going to accept him or is she going to accept me as Deadpool, in this way, as ugly as I am, it's not super deep, but at the same time, it's this decent message to put out there, how much you love somebody, will it overcome a physical change that drastic? Because I think about that a lot. You if you have a loved one, a significant other, if something dramatic happens to them, and
how do you adapt?
How do you adapt to that?
Yeah. That's a genuine question.
Yeah, and I think love will persevere for the most part, and I think it'll show a true test of love if someone really cares about you after something obviously it's extreme that you get something like Wade. What happens to Wade turns out like that, but if you get maybe you lose a limb, something something life changing like that, to have. To stick through it with a partner like that is really a testament to love. And I always go back to I have a childhood friend who I'm still friends with, of course, but the person who made our intro.
Sure.
Yeah, the sample of Iron Man 3. His mom developed MS after she married his dad, and they're still together and everything. And so I've always thought that was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
So that's the underlying story to the love story and or the underlying theme. And even though it's not it's this, he says it's a love story and it's not a super deep one like The Notebook or something like that, it's still kind of sweet to know that they that she loves him in the end after all this.
Yeah, no, the thing I think that they get really well is that they don't try and change each other. They just are who they are with each other, and that's obviously very nice. Did you guys ever feel any real concern for her? Were you just for, I guess, the Vanessa character? Did you feel like she was ever in any real danger or anything like that?
No.
No.
Are you just waiting to see Ajax get his ass beat by Deadpool for the most part?
Yeah, the stakes were never. I never really felt that high.
I like that they worked in, I didn't notice it on my first watch. On the second one, or definitely in the later ones, you notice that the ending takes place on like a decommissioned helicarrier, and this was pretty recent enough after Avengers that like people kind of. I think it's interesting that Fox chose to make that decision so that you could almost tie it in if you really wanted to into like the MCU universe as well.
Well, of course, now they own the rights to that.
Yeah, so I feel like that'll definitely come into play. You think they'll pull Deadpool over?
That's what I was.
MCU?
That's what I was going to ask. And if they do, how does that play into a Avengers movie when you have a character that's trying to break the fourth wall with all these other characters? Will that mix well? I
think they just keep it like almost like Fox has done it, and like in the fact that they just reference the X-Men out there, and I think he even says in this movie, he's like, oh, I only ever see the two of you.
Yeah. The studio didn't have a big enough budget for the rest.
Yeah, so I think they almost just keep him kind of separate, and if he does show up in a quote unquote Avengers, one of the ensemble movies, it'll be for something small or something, you can even just have him come in and see like Thanos in there and be like, fuck this, and jump back out again, and you're like, okay, well, there's Deadpool.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting because I just he's someone who just addresses the fact that he's in a movie so much, and that's never even been close to mentioned in any of the MCUs. And so if he comes in like that and goes and just looks at the camera and says one thing, it would take me out of it, I think. Well,
it'll be interesting going forward because She-Hulk also does that.
Does she? Okay.
Yeah, in the comic book, she's often aware that she is a comic. So that's already a series in production.
Yeah,
so maybe they might address some of that there.
Yeah, that could be. And maybe they introduce that kind of fourth wall breaking style and how they. I think
after WandaVision, they could probably kind of handle something like that, or go a little bit more wacky with it. You put them in the right situation, I think it can always make work. And we know Marvel at this point. They've got this pretty much unlocked.
Yeah, they do. I think they would handle it well. We'll see if they decide to do that. I think they could. I think there's a way to do it. I don't know what that way is, but they've got to. I think at some point try to mix Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool in because he's such a popular character.
What about this? Did you Go ahead, Tyler. Sorry.
I would just say the only way, and I think the bridge that you get these two together is you just make a Deadpool series. It's so much easier.
Like a Disney Plus series?
Cameos. Yeah, like you have smaller cameos of maybe other Marvel characters in a Deadpool series.
Sure.
And that's how you just kind of mix everything together without actually putting him in the MCU universe in like an actual like full-length film. Because like you said, Adam, that would be hard to do that. Obviously, I've seen him do that in other comics. And there's times where you're like reading, like you would buy like another person's comic for an issue, and Deadpool would just show up in there and like just talk to you in the comic book. So it's very cool to be able to kind of see that, and if anybody's read the comics before, you kind of understand on like you know why he is the way that he is. You aren't totally thrown off, but that's also by reading. I feel like you might be a little bit right. If you do it on film, it might throw me off from like a Marvel movie.
Right.
But I guess we would really see what their overall idea for it is.
Yeah.
Did you guys see X-Men Origins Wolverine and the original Deadpool?
I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters, I think. But I do remember that. Oh, that was Ryan Reynolds, too.
Yeah,
right?
It was.
Didn't we reference that recently on pod? I think somebody talked about it.
It's on the new to streaming, I think. It was last week or the week before.
Yeah, I remember I played one of the episodes back. Yeah, and I mean, they even throw shits and giggles at that in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That and Green Lantern, which is hilarious.
I mean, yeah, man, it's good. It's definitely aware that it's a movie, right? Ryan Reynolds is aware that he's an anti-hero, right? Whatever you want to call him. But to Tyler's point, that's kind of all Deadpool's about. If anyone is aware of Deadpool, they know that that's kind of the story. That's how those things go with him. And I think this is like a perfect adaptation of what you could ask for on Deadpool on film. And I don't think anybody could play it better than Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah, like we said earlier, I don't know if there's a single actor.
Like, I honestly can't even think of somebody else who would be the second best.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's that big of a gap.
I noticed in this movie, too, that T.J. Miller's character, Weasel, also is able to break the fourth wall. Because there's a point in there where the guy from the Essex Company, he keeps calling a pedophile,
Okay, when he comes into the bar?
Yeah, when he comes into the bar, and TJ hands him the card, and he's like, "Oh, this is from that guy over there, real Grim Reaper type. Looks like he'll further the plot." And
okay. I don't even. Maybe I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, so for some reason he knows that this is in there too." And he does it again later at one point, I think. Maybe when they're like getting all the guns together or something.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I love Blind Al. Blind Al's great.
Yeah, she's great.
And I love Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah,
like all of the side characters in this are great as well.
I love Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She's probably the second most enjoyable character in this to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even despite the very small line she has.
Yeah.
But it's this.
I love Colossus. I feel like they nailed him in this as well too.
Yeah.
I like that he's just kind of a fuddy-duddy.
Is it like a
Russian?
Russian.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that he's just kind of a fuddy-duddy, especially after we saw him briefly in X-Men 2 and 3, I think he's in, where he doesn't really do much.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, it's really cool to have him in there. I think he and Deadpool. My favorite line out of this is when Deadpool breaks both arms, and he's just like, "Oh, the dinosaurs fear the T-Rex."
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I really liked when he. Someone mentions Professor X, and he goes, "Which one, Stewart or McAvoy?" These timelines are so hard to keep track of. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, man. Like I said, they've got a ton of just good lines in that, and like you guys said, you think that's Ryan Reynolds just kind of improvising off the top? Do you think that's him taking multiple?
Yeah, I think I reckon it's multiple takes. I bet there's one or two written lines, and then they do like 4 or 5 where they just let him go.
Yeah,
and then they just pick what's best.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And he's so good at it too.
No, he is. He's really good at it
because it just feels so natural, all of it. And like I said earlier, it just feels like he's playing himself, kind of just riffing and having fun. Do you guys think this will age well?
See, I was worried about that.
Yeah, I was too.
5 years later, it's okay. And 5 years, I mean, obviously, it's not an incredibly long time. It's half a decade, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's nothing in here that's too like targeting one group of people or something.
Yeah, that's because that was my question: is if you guys do think it's aged well, because it's only been 5 years, but 5 years, as you saw with Master of None, can change a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it holds up just fine. It feels like it. I could watch it in 2016, watch it now, and there's not really anything that needs to be changed too much.
Yeah, if anything, it just targets pedophilic-looking white guys. So,
yeah, I guess. I just wonder if the comedy will age well. But I think we'll have to see. I think it should.
I think even if the comedy doesn't necessarily age the best, maybe something a la more like Boondock Saints or something, the action in this is good enough as well that, the next generations and that kind of thing are still going to discover this and keep going with it too.
Yeah, my only concern would be the lines where the Green Lantern line and the McAvoy Stewart line, those kind of things as time goes on and more people are not going to be as familiar with all of those jokes. I mean, they'll still know of them, and our generation will remember them, of course, but the generations that follow me and everything, if the younger people, I don't know how much they'll get those jokes, I think for us, it might still age fine, but I think for newer people and the younger people, if they watch it, maybe won't get it as much.
I can definitely see that happening, but again, I think it's got enough going for it that I think it'll probably carry over.
Sure, yeah, it could. It could go either way. We'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much more
it's not really too much to like deep dive.
Yeah, and this happens every time we review a comedy. We kind of just it's not like super in depth. Picking apart the story and everything. It's just it's lighthearted. It's hard to do that with a movie like this.
I know usually we go like favorite scenes, favorite scares, right? Favorite action sequence. Does anybody have a favorite joke from this one? I know Nathaniel said his was the T-Rex one, right?
Yeah,
After
absolutely.
He punches Colossus.
Yeah, that's definitely mine.
Adam, Ty?
I think mine might be the McAvoy Stewart one. I think that's really good. I mean, that opening highway sequence, I think, has the probably the best consecutive row of jokes that land for me. And after that, it's here and there, but because he does throw a lot at the wall. I feel like after that, I think the opening sequence is pretty good comedy-wise for sure. It sets the tone really, really well.
What do you think, Ty?
I don't really know if I have a favorite line. Being able to see Ryan Reynolds interact as Deadpool alone is just so much fun in general that it's probably really hard for me to really nail one line down. It kind of comes down more to scenes for me.
Okay.
Because the jokes typically tend to be so long running within a scene, and then they'll cut to the next part of the plot, just because of the way that this movie's cut up and how it progresses itself. Because you have those short takes like at the highway, but that technically doesn't happen until later in the movie.
Right.
So
So
they gotta cut in
flashbacks and
front,
stuff.
they kind of gotta explain his origins and everything like that. So
For sure.
they cut it up really, really nice to where it's the joke is the scene for me, not necessarily a one-liner. And they just do it so well because there's so many natural funny things that are happening from scene to scene. So yeah, I don't really have a favorite. The highway scene, like you guys said, is really great. The scene where he's getting like all the guns and everything from Blind Al is also really funny. Even the first time you find out that they're living together is really funny because he's got his little short hand and he puts his Crocs on and he's like, "Oh my god, so comfy."
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and then he's like making fun of her because she's blind, like she's coming right back at him and like, "You're an asshole." And
Yeah.
so like, there's a lot of funny parts to this movie, and yeah, so I think it's really hard for me to pick out one individual line. It's definitely more of a specific scene for me.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's definitely hard to pick like one line because there are a lot that hit pretty well.
I hear you. Is this the scene you're referencing, Nathaniel?
For what?
When you mentioned like, hey, it's the gentleman in the black coat, right?
No,
Looks like
it's I think that one already happened.
he
When
might progress the plot.
he
Oh,
comes-
yeah, that was earlier. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yes. But what about this? What would you guys like to see from a third one? Since we know that there is a
Oh,
Deadpool
man.
3 coming, keeping in mind Adam hasn't seen the second one. Is there any adventure or anyone you'd like to see Deadpool team up with, maybe from the Marvel universe that you want to see?
Honestly, these movies are so different to me. Like I almost couldn't pinpoint how they would do a third one, right?
Okay.
I guess logically you'd probably say he does end up joining forces with the X-Men, right? And they're a little bit more involved in the third one. But that's really all I can think of. I mean, I don't know what you and Ty think.
Yeah, I'd like to see him maybe run into like a Wolverine or a Spider-Man or something like that. I think he and like a Tom Holland would have a really funny
him and Spider-Man would
back
be
and forth.
Great.
And I think that they've teamed up in the comics quite often.
Yeah,
I think,
they
They
sometimes
do a
too.
lot, for sure.
Yeah, he does a lot more X-Men stuff, and so does Spider-Man for a short period of time. Yeah, I think Wolverine's the obvious answer. They have a pretty deep, funny history, which is also why it's funny because of the Wolverine Origins movie that is not particularly well done.
That movie is bad.
Yeah, so it's funny, and you can obviously see
the other Wolverine. I'm sorry to cut you off, Ty. But then
no, you're good.
the one where they go to Japan.
Origins is easily worse in my
Really?
in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler, finish your
Go
thought.
ahead, bro.
Yeah, so it's just and then in the end where he's wearing the cut off of Hugh Jackman's face under his mask
Yeah.
is just a really funny. And then again at the beginning of the bridge scene, he's like, whose balls did I have to fondle to get my own? And he's doing it in an Australian accent or whatever Hugh Jackman is. He's Australian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's really funny to see him interact with those, and obviously making fun of the whole not being able to use the X-Men kind of argument that's been going on between these two franchises for so long. But yeah, I think it's great, and I think that would probably be one of the funnier ones because they're like polar opposites. But yeah, Spider-Man would be great. Tom Holland would be great. I think they have also interacted on some other things, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah.
Tyler, is the maximum effort line, is that from the comics?
It is, yeah. He's been in that. He's done that for a little bit, but yeah, it's just also it's cool again to hear like those little things on screen, and like put a voice to a name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is also why it's so cool to see things that you've read about or have seen in comics for so long, and then they finally find somebody like Ryan Reynolds who's so perfect for a role.
Well, Adam, you want to take us on home?
Sure, yeah. Let's welcome back the listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment here. We're going to go ahead and rank Deadpool up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, The Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially our rating system. Rather than giving it out of 5 stars, out of 10, we're going to throw all of our movies up on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd.
Hard one this week, isn't it?
Yeah, this is just so unique in anything we've done. Even when you compare it to the other comedies too, not the same.
Yeah, you hit it on the head, Adam. Definitely it's a unique film, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a one of one genre almost. You know what I mean? So curious to see where we'll. I feel bad for the guy who has to go first. I'll tell you that.
Well, then I guess you should feel bad for Tyler Vidalis. Yes, sir. Oh, he's right there.
I know he looked gone for a second.
Yeah, he did look gone. I looked up and I was like, oh, he's out.
I'm here.
All right, Ty, you have the most experience with the comics here, of course. I'm very interested to see where you rank it.
Still pulling up the list.
No, I have it. I'm just kind of thinking here.
Yeah,
Perusing. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. This is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
This is a really good movie.
It's really good.
13.
13.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right below Green Room and above Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not super upset with it being that high.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've decided mine, so I'll go first. Maybe give Blake and Nathaniel some more time. But I think I'm going to plop it down at 21, right below
Okay.
Kill Bill Volume 2 and above Dr. Sleep. The Kill Bills for me are both just super, super solid. And, you know, this is really funny, but I just don't think it reaches that Kill Bill status. And then I like Dr. Sleep a lot. I don't think I like it as much as the other people here, but I think 21 is where it's going to land for me.
Yeah, I'll follow up. To be honest with you, Adam, I'm kind of in that same thought process, right? Looking down the list, I kind of set myself a cap at 20, which is Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think it's better than any of those movies. And then I started to kind of look at your Dr. Sleep, Paid in Full, District 9, Frozen, Soul, Quiet Place.
I think it's just better than all of those. At least most of them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put it... I think I'm going to go after Soul.
Okay.
So I'm going to go, what's that, 26? So
Yeah.
above Quiet Place, the first Quiet Place, and then below Soul.
Sure.
But I still like this movie, though. I still
Yeah.
think this
No,
is
that's
really
still a good
movie. It's
spot.
super fun.
And that was my initial reaction to put it there, but then I started thinking, I was like, I
Yeah.
honestly kind of like it more than a lot of these movies.
Sure.
Nathaniel?
Yeah. Well, Adam, we're very similar. I have this at 22.
22. Okay.
Okay.
Below Dr. Sleep and above Paid in Full.
Correct, yeah.
Sure. Thought process there?
Similar to kind of what everyone's echoed ahead of time. For me, those top 20, as we've kind of referenced a lot, are pretty tough to crack your way inside of. I think Kill Bill Volume 2 on like an action level works a little bit better than this for me.
Yeah.
And then you get to Dr. Sleep. I've been a pretty vocal proponent for Dr. Sleep. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I think these ones are pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
But I definitely think this is, as good as Paid in Full is, I think this is a little bit of a cut above there. So that's where I put this guy, 22.
Cool.
All right. So we got a 13, a 21, a 22, and you said 26.
Yeah.
Not too far of a spread, but also not
Right.
that close
The only
together.
big change really is tied to 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think Kill Bill is definitely probably a little bit better than this for me. But I mean, then I take a look at like E2 Mama Tambien,
For sure.
Dunkirk, Requiem,
For sure.
like Judas and the Black Messiah is obviously a killer movie, like crazy message, you know, and I would probably watch Deadpool over E2 Mama Tambien, Dunkirk, and Requiem. Probably watch it over The Conjuring, probably watch it over Dr. Sleep. And so like that was my biggest thing, like overall,
the
like
rewatchability.
I think this would be hard for Kill Bill. Kill Bill I think beats this. especially because it's just classic Tarantino, and that's one of those movies that makes you look at film like analytically versus looking at it just as like a movie. So that will probably always have a higher place for me. But yeah, as far as some of those other movies that are in there, I think Deadpool is just better.
Sure. So I think if we're splitting the difference here, kind of trying to find a middle ground, it's going to be either a 20 or 19. I don't know if you guys have any strong feelings one way or the other. I personally think it should just be if we want to kind of split it at 20. I think that'd be a kind of a good.
So that would be
here.
Above Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yeah, above Volume 2 and below Boys in the Hood. I have a hard time personally putting it above Kill Bill, but I do think that splits it the difference enough.
You're saying you're having a hard time putting it in the top 20 is what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
right?
I don't. I just don't. I just think Kill Bill. For me, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 are so dead even with each other. Even when we were ranking them, it was like, which one should I put first?
Yeah,
and
they were together for a while.
No, they weren't. We watched Boys in the Hood, I think, the week after or 2 weeks after,
really?
And they went, and Nathaniel was like right in between, and so that's where we ended up putting it.
I feel like I'm the cause for a lot of pain on this list.
Yeah, you can be.
Could be, man.
Y tu mama tambien. Not naming names, but I am. I think I don't know. I think this movie is very, very good. It's just hard for me to put it too far above Kill Bill Volume 1. So I think we should probably split it at 20. Is anyone else opposed to that? Do you want to go higher at 19?
Yeah, I'm good with 20. I would have a hard time, as I kind of voiced earlier. I mean, I would have a hard time putting in the top 20. So I mean, I'm fine with putting it at 20. It's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah. Nathaniel?
Yeah, I agree.
Ty, you cool with 20?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, Deadpool is slotted in at number 20 on the Entropy list, out of 57, of course.
Yeah. That's an impressive feat for Deadpool, though.
Yeah. I don't know if I really expected to go that high, but after I watched it, I was like, I'm not too mad.
Like you said, man, it's a good movie. Jokes land. Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. And I think Tyler...
And the action holds up well. So
it doesn't overstay its welcome, too. You're in and out pretty quick.
Yeah, it's under 2 hours. That was pleasant to see. That's one thing we should have said, too, when I put it on again.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's only like an hour 50.
You're right.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Tyler, I think, hit it, too, is the movies like Kill Bill. Those are movies, but we try to be more of a casual movie watching podcast, and this is definitely more of a casual movie here.
Yeah, a lot of people can watch this.
Yeah, it's just an entertaining film. So, yeah, 20 I'm definitely very cool with. And I hope you are too, listener. Let's move on here to our next topic. Next week, as I hinted at earlier, we're going to be watching Tokyo Drift. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. That's Fast and Furious 3. We're getting ready for F9 that's coming out in a couple weeks.
Talk about a movie with a great soundtrack. Tokyo Drift, man.
I'm excited because I've already heard that song. Of course, it's in a lot of things. It was a TikTok trend for a little bit too. And I'm rocking with these Fast and Furious fans. I like both the first two. I've heard they're pretty good up until 5, right? I heard 5.
Well, for me it was always 1 pretty awesome, 2 weird, 3 pretty cool, personal favorite, 4 bad, 5 not great, but rock. That's when you get the rock, and that's when it starts to pick up a little bit. Yeah. 6 is, I would say, pretty decent, and then 7's good. 8 I don't think is particularly good. Okay.
Well, we'll have to see as we watch them. But yeah, join us next week for Tokyo Drift. I looked because I tried to see if it was anywhere after I watched F2. I was trying to see if it was streaming anywhere. I don't think it is. I'll double check on that, but you might just have to end up renting it somewhere if you can. Or
that might be worth a purchase. To be honest with you,
could be. Let me know if you voodoo that. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, but I'm looking right now. It looks like it's only available to rent on YouTube, Amazon Prime, all those places. So, but go ahead and do that and join us next week. And Nathaniel, I checked. I don't think we have a 5-star review.
We do not this week.
That's very unfortunate. But let the listener know, what do they get if they leave a 5-star review?
Hey, listeners, if you leave us a 5-star review in app on Apple Podcasts, you will get me to read it out for you here. It doesn't have to be me. It could be any one of us. And you can say anything realistically. Just don't be evil. And that's what your reward will be. You can be nice. You can be mean. You can be funny. You can tell Adam what you really think of his hair. You can tell me what you really think of my hair. Don't tell Blake he doesn't have much hair right now, but other than that, yeah.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Please share the podcast. God, man. Please just share it.
You know who you should share it with? If you are in a government facility and,
Actually, I don't think it was a government facility. Right?
It's right. It's a private facility.
Yeah.
You're
Private,
correct.
So
yes.
if you're in a
if you're in a bad spot and you're getting tortured,
offer the podcast.
offer the podcast. Say, hey, man, take an hour, take your time off, go listen to these guys, and we'll get back to this a little bit. Or if you're doing the torturing and you don't really like our podcast, maybe just play it for your guys there. They probably won't like it either.
Yeah, maybe
it's
your
a form of torture.
Who knows?
It's like, maybe your torture idea is just an infinite loop of
our voices.
One.
Yeah.
They've got episode 0.
Yeah.
It's just
loop.
It's just an infinite loop of the 5 minutes we talk about Eli Roth and Zachary Quinto
Yes.
and being in Inglourious Bastards. That would be my torture, is hearing that over and over
That's
again.
the gates of hell.
Nothing I
That'd be
will
funny,
ever live down. I still wish I had edited that out, but
Nope,
you guys
it's
wouldn't
there
have let me.
forever.
Yeah, it's there forever. It's all right.
That's funny.
Yeah, so share the podcast, please do that. Share with a friend, family member, all that jazz. Follow the show, though. If you can follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, on YouTube, it's just Back Row Banter. Please go subscribe to us there, even if it's not your primary place of listening. I know you have a YouTube account. Everyone has a YouTube account. I know you can go subscribe there, so please do it. And then our email for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of the sort is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there. I'm terrible at it. I'm slowly getting better, though. Outside of that, Instagram, Mr. Watercooler, PSN, Mr. Watercooler, Xbox, Mr. Watercooler. We just talked about the Battlefield 5, or excuse me, not Battlefield 5, Battlefield 2042.
2.
I almost said 49.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be something I might look into, and I don't know if I'm tying Adam or something like that. Maybe that's something. Once it drops, we can all get on that and see what's up.
Cool. Popcorn Tie.
Oh, hey. You can always find me. Well, not always, because I'm really not on there all the time. But I do Twitch. Nathaniel just got his PC surprise. I don't know if he was going to tell you, but I decided to tell you anyways. So hopefully we'll maybe get something set up for him, and then we can really start to hammer home this Halo thing that we've been kind of talking about for the last couple weeks here. So that'll be fun. That's twitch.tv/Ultrabajo, ELTRABAJO87, and then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter, all Tyler Vidales, VIDALES. Someone else go.
I'm Nathaniel. You can find me on Letterboxd at NSGingrich. That's the same thing as my Twitter handle. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Check out my other podcast. That's the Sandpiper Tapes. You can find that at all your podcasting locations. I think that is it. Yeah, Adam, have you gone yet?
Not yet, but I'll close this out. You can find me on Twitter at H24, on Letterboxd at H, and on Twitch whenever I get back to streaming Halo with these guys. It's going to be twitch.tv/H. Speaking of Halo Infinite news came out today, guys. I'm getting very excited. That's definitely something I will be streaming in the fall, because I'll probably actually be playing that a lot. That's something that I'll finally have a game that I actually want to play. And I'm excited to play. So that'll be probably my game for a long, long time, hopefully. And I'll hopefully be streaming that a lot. But yeah, I think that's it. Join us next week for Tokyo Drift, one I'm very excited to get to.
I'm glad.
We will BRB.
Hey, everyone, you be excellent to each other out there, and we will BRB.
Thanks for coming by, and, just make sure we ELE. And please like, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review. Do whatever you got to do to help us grow. We appreciate it. And, we'll BRB.
Yeah, appreciate the love. Appreciate the support on everything, as always. We'll keep it short this week, and everybody have a good week. We hope you the best in all your endeavors. BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
That Battlefield trailer, man.
You're in?
I'm in. That's
don't
what I
know.
wanted
We'll
after
see.
Battlefield 4.
We'll see. I'm just not sold on like the Battlefield style of play.
Have you played Battlefields before?
I played Battlefield 1, the one that came with the Xbox,
Okay.
and I actually didn't mind that. I kind of felt like I got around it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not a big vehicles guy.
Did you like Battlefield 5?
I didn't play Battlefield 5.
Okay.
I played Battlefront 2,
Okay.
Okay.
so similar.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Battlefield 5. I played a lot of Battlefield 2, Bad Company,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
on like 360.
Yeah, I
I played
did
a
too.
lot.
Yeah, I remember that
of
game being famous.
Yeah. But then your point, I kind of fell off a little bit. Played a little bit of 5, but I don't know. Obviously, I like the futuristic setting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
Of
cool.
the new one. I
My
think
favorite-
that might be enough.
Because Battlefront's the same developer, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Dice.
As a dice.
Yeah. My favorite part of that game was the like air fighter missions that you could do.
Yeah.
So.
Have you played Rogue Squadrons or Star
No.
Wars Squadrons?
No, I haven't. That it does feel like a game that I would really enjoy.
I love it. I actually didn't play it as much as I really wanted to. But it's fun. It's like that you take the fighting from Battlefront and you just amp it up 10. Like the controls are actually pretty hard, but like once you get the hang of it, it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Maybe that's one we'll play.
Because you got a lot to keep track of, because you could balance your energy, your ship's like energy, like shields or
Yeah.
speed, or what type of fighter you're in, what kind of ion cannons you have, like all that kind of stuff.
What was the release date? For the new Battlefield. What is it? 2048 or something like that?
2042?
2042.
2049. They're making a Blade Runner game.
That's what I wanted
That'd be
to say.
awesome.
No, it's 2042 because they did in the mid 2000s they had Battlefield 2142, which was like the super futuristic one.
Okay.
And so now
I don't even know if I played that one.
I did not. It was I think early 2000s.
Right.
It was people still liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played I started with Bad Company 2, and then played 3, loved 4, bought both 1 and 5, and didn't play them nearly as much. Just didn't get me. But this looks like the kind of sequel I wanted to Battlefield 4, so I'm on board.
Right. Yeah, man. I've been looking for something that'll kind of get me back in the gaming realm. You know what I mean? I kind of fell off that a little bit. Something where I can like get in on the regular.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And as well as like something as an incentive for me to buy the next gen. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
It's like that's definitely the main point. I think that might be able to do it. I watched a little bit of kind of the E3 stuff. So I kind of saw some stuff on that Back for Blood, which is kind of like Left 4 Dead.
It's same developer.
Yeah, so I think that
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, that
Is
might
that
be
gonna
going
be
to
still zombies?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
is it? Or
I mean,
is it
that
going to be
shit
like?
is- it's Left 4 Dead, bro.
It's basically
Oh, is
just
it?
Left 4
Okay.
Dead.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I thought they might like the name made me think they might have like added vampires into it or something.
No,
No.
but there was another vampire game by Arcane Studios, the same people as Dishonored and Prey.
Oh.
They are making a 4-player open world co-op game that is vampires kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think I caught that one.
It was at the end, very, very end. It was the last announcement of the Xbox Bethesda conference.
Right. So, yeah, man, I think between that Battlefield and Back 4 Blood, that might be enough as an incentive for me to go ahead and get up a PS5 maybe by the end of the year or something, the next few months,
Mm-hmm. Still going with PS5?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, man. I think so. I mean, I'm not hard sold on it, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's going to be hard because I really enjoyed that Spider-Man game on PS4. Like,
Yeah.
That's something I really want to
I do want to play the
do
Miles
like the
Morales
game,
one
but-
too.
Yeah. I think that's only on PS5, though, right? Is that even on
I think
PS4?
they released that. No, that's on PS5.
It's not on PS4. That's what he's
Right.
asking. It's a PS5 exclusive.
Okay, right.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I think that's
Sorry.
why that's going to be the main driving point because that Spider-Man was dope on PS4.
Yeah.
That was the most fun I've
It
ever
was.
played
That was
in a while.
that was a great game.
I love. Yeah, it was a cheeseburger of a game, but
Exactly.
I loved it.
That's
Yeah.
I haven't had a game like that since I don't know, man, like 2012.
Yeah,
2013,
yeah.
where you can
That's
sit
how I
down
felt-
And bullshit.
That's how I felt about the new Tomb Raiders too. I really liked those
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
They're solid.
agree,
They're
I agree,
solid.
I agree.
I'm not a big Tomb Raider guy, or I don't even like the Uncharted's all that much. But
Wow.
they're still pretty good.
Neither one, huh?
They're just not my type of game.
Well, fair enough.
You know, I
Just
think
never
they're
wanted
fun.
to be Indiana Jones growing up.
Nah, not really. You know.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're I like the Tomb Raiders. I played all three. I didn't finish the third one though. I think that was kind of the most boring. But
Yeah,
there's
I
a
didn't
third
finish
one.
that one either.
yeah. But to your point, that Spider-Man is kind of in that same realm. But that Spider-Man, it's so honed in.
so-
And
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man
Man.
is so fun. So
Yeah.
it's
He's
just-
my favorite superhero
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Like I just love Spider-Man.
He still outsells Batman, Iron Man, all of them.
Yeah.
He's still the most,
Really?
the most, I don't know, popular, but most profitable,
yeah.
superhero. Yeah.
As he should be.
Yeah, man, he's a monster.
Well, he's just the ultimate kid that every kid can relate to, too.
Yeah.
And he's got such a good metaphor for growing up, and he's not a, like Tony Stark's a billionaire playboy philanthropist,
Right, like-
alcoholic who's like 20, 36 or whatever.
right. More people relate to that.
Yeah.
Isn't that exactly what Tony Stark called
Yeah.
himself to in Iron Man? Yeah, it's like, what do you say, a billion-dollar playboy philanthropist? Funny. Shout out Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah.
Killed it, man.
You think he's gonna stick around now that he's done with Iron Man? You think
I
people
was
are?
to say, has he been in anything post Iron Man?
He did
Or
Doolittle.
post MCU.
Yeah,
guess?
I was going to say Doolittle, and then,
Has he been into anything else?
I don't know.
I haven't even seen the.
He could kind of just do whatever he wants now, though, can he? He's got so much freaking money.
Oh, he's got so
I
much
don't
money.
think
He's
he
not
fucking
concerned at
cares,
all.
right.
And
But
honestly,
he's from a film family, too, so I'd be
Oh,
I'd be a
yeah.
little bit
His dad
surprised if he didn't do anything good. Maybe he'll
Yeah.
try directing or something.
yeah, I'd be interested.
Okay. Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes 3 is announced. Another movie called All-Star Weekend. But those are the only two things after Doolittle that he's done. That he's doing.
When he was doing he did the Joe Rogan Experience, I was
Yeah.
listening to that, and he seemed kind of like he was almost like he just liked getting older and kind of wanted to step away from Hollywood some too. So I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of didn't do as
I wouldn't
much
either.
either.
It's not like we said. It's not like he needs more money. Like he'd be fine if he just stopped doing shit today. God knows he got enough out of the fucking MCU.
Yeah, man. I mean, Favreau's always kicking around the Star Wars universe. He may
Yeah.
show up in one of those too at some point.
Robert Downey Jr. in Star Wars.
You never know.
I could see it. The only thing I doubt is if he wants another long-term role.
No, but he might just like show up as like a
Sure,
side
sure.
character. Or
Yeah,
something.
I could see
Right.
that.
Or like in one of the limited series, like the Obi-Wan series or something.
Maybe, but that's the thing, man. Is if you don't kill off his character, then fans and fans love him. The fans are gonna want him back, and I just don't think he's
Yeah.
down for something like that.
I wouldn't
Again.
disagree.
So I guess it would just
Agree
depend
to
on the
disagree.
character.
Agree to disagree, or not really.
Agree to agree.
Let's just agree.
Agreed.
Agree or not to agree? That is the question.
That is the question.